Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Yvonne from Ginger Chick Rehab. I'm so glad to have you back today, and if you're new here and visiting my channel for the first time, welcome. I do lots of DIYs, trash to treasure, furniture flips with my husband Chris, and thrifting adventures to fit into the farmhouse decor. I am participating in the Chic for Cheap DIY challenge hosted by Christi Creates and co-hosted by Crafting with Maria. This is their first challenge that they are hosting together, and it's going to be a first Monday of the month challenge, so I am very excited about it. I just love DIYs. And if you haven't checked out these two ladies' channels, they do amazing DIYs, amazing dollar store. You don't even know that the items are from the dollar store. They just do an amazing job decorating and redoing these items and just making them look high-end. I will link their channels down in my description box so you can hop on over and check out their DIYs and their farmhouse decors. So in this challenge, they have asked us to make chick on the cheap. I don't have awesome Dollar Trees in my area, so I have to rely on thrifting. So if you are new to my channel or you already know my channel, you know that I am a thrifter and I have a retail booth. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I upcycled some mirrors that were less than $6 a piece, but they are absolutely beautiful, and wait till we get done with them, how I can show you to take a thrifted mirror and fix it up and make it look high-end and fit it into the farmhouse decor. I don't know about you all, but when I see a piece of beveled glass, I just, especially at a thrift store, I just figure out a way to use it. So I'm so happy when I come across these beveled mirrors. And for $5.09 with all that detailing, I knew that it would distress. Now this one is very large and it is also beveled, and just amazing at the $5 price. So for this large mirror, somebody had drilled right through the frame of the mirror to hang it. So for this antique frame, it had been painted multiple colors, but actually the date on it was October of 1969. So that age on that mirror to me is absolutely gorgeous. And for $6.09, I thought it was a great price. So for this brass looking frame, something about that detailing just caught my eye. I was kind of hoping to be able to take the mirror out, but I really don't know what I would have put in there. So for $4.09, it is very heavy resin, but I just absolutely love the detailing. And I cannot tell you how my excitement when I saw this old window turned into 6-pane mirrors. Oh my goodness. And for the price of $3.09, I just screamed like it was Christmas morning. So this mirror to me looks like it could be pewter, and on the back it probably is a type of metal, but that is a heavy plastic made to look pewter, and I cannot believe it was only $4.09. This is definitely a vintage age piece, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Now for this mirror, I just like the uniqueness of it having a shelf on it. Now I don't think it's really old, and it's more of a cabinet feel, but I know I can take those little rusted decals off. And for $4.09, it was like Goodwill were just giving these mirrors away. Now for this big standing mirror, they weren't giving this one away, but it was only $15. I still almost think that is giving this away at $15, so I was happy to run across this. So after getting all these mirrors taped up and ready to paint, the large one needed to have some spackle put into those screw holes where they had screwed it into the wall. So when you're out thrifting, don't let those holes deter you. So when I was removing these little tree and moose, I realized that they had applied them with rubber cement. So I have to say this is my first time tackling rubber cement, so we will see what the crud cutter can do for this, since I was going to be using it on all the other mirrors to prep them anyway. Well, I did let the crud cutter sit on this rubber cement for a while, but I ended up having just to gingerly peel it off, put some more spray on it, peel it off, but I did get it off. So for the big stand-up mirror, it definitely will be easier to paint if you could take it apart. So luckily these little knobs that it has unscrews, and then there's a washer on the other side that goes against the mirror itself. So I knew the back of this mirror had a little bit of wonkiness going on, but I was really hoping that I was just going to have to staple it down, but it was kind of warped, so I needed to take the whole thing off, which made me a little bit nervous because I did not want to break this mirror. But I would say it will make it definitely easier to paint. And for that heavy resin mirror, I could take the mirror right out of that, so that'll definitely make it easier to paint. So now I just need to sand down where I filled those holes in with some spackling. You could have used wood filler too, just something to fill those holes in, especially since you're just painting it. So now if you're new to my channel, I always paint everything with an undercoat of black, and I like this ready to use black onyx that I get at Walmart. I just like to see that undercolor with a little bit of the natural wood with that black, and then I will cover them up with white. So I'm starting to figure out why this standing mirror was only $15. So now, it's funny how you don't notice things until you get your hands right on them. But one of the knobs was missing, and then on the other side, and then the little pieces of wood that cover up the screw holes was missing, but then on the side that had the two pieces, two of the legs were loose, so I had to put some tight bond glue. I don't know how I did not notice that when I was cleaning it, but apparently I didn't. So now all the mirrors have their coat of black on, or at least one coat. It usually will take a couple coats to cover. And then that hardware that came off the standing mirror, I'm just using my Rust-Oleum paint and primer one in the flat black just to spray it so that it's black to go with the white. So on the 6-pane window, it was missing its little open and lock system, and I thrift these all the time, so I was happy to get to use one. And now I'm moving on to my Kills paint and primer in the flat white. I absolutely love this stuff. I get it at Walmart. So when it comes to the white coats, it just takes as many as it takes to cover up what is pleasing to your eye. I like to do thin coats, so I do about 3 or 4, and it dries fast, and then that stops it from me having to really aggressively sand. So part of me reselling these mirrors in my booth is I want to make sure that they have good hangers, that you don't have to screw through the frames to hang them. So you could see on this one that looked like pewter that wire was really weak. So we're going to replace that with some new wire, but these were screwed into metal. This back is metal. So we're just replacing it with some new wire. And then on the back of this mirror, they had stapled in some rope, and I'm glad that it never fell off the wall because staples into cardboard. But this is where we saw that awesome date of October 1969. How awesome that somebody had taken the time to write it, so that is staying right where it is. But we did replace this with some wire and some good screws. So you can see with the hanging system on this mirror probably why the people just screwed it into the wall. But luckily we're just going to attach some good screws and some good hanging systems so then they won't have that problem again. And if you were wondering, does she paint the back of her mirrors? Yes, I do. Especially since I'm a reseller, I want the whole project to be completed. No, I won't paint over any dates or, any numbered, but I do flip them over and I do give them a nice couple coats of white paint. I don't necessarily paint them black, but at least the back of these are cleaned up. So now it's on to distressing the frames of these mirrors. So what I do is I just take some of my sandpaper, and when I go over the detail pieces and those sharp edges of a piece, I kind of put more pressure down, and then when I go through the flat where there's not details, I kind of just go lightly just to take the brush stroke feel off. So when it comes to this little mirror, I just knew once I started distressing it how much I would absolutely love it. And I know, when it comes to distressing, you're going to have that gold showing through and the black. But I just love that aged look of distressing. and I absolutely knew that all this detailing on this piece was just going to pop. Now I have to say the nice thing about, working in our workshop, well, I'm in the garage, but is having the air compressor to blow all the dust off of from distressing and sanding them. Now I'm moving on to doing the Varathane finishing wax on the entire pieces, and you're probably like, isn't she going to take that tape off or clean those windows yet? No, I kind of like to leave that on so that if I get some of the wax on the mirror, it comes off a little bit easier, and then I really let that wax, dry before removing the tape. So if you noticed, I prepped them with crud cutter, but I did not clean the mirrors themselves. That's just because, there's some dirt and debris or whatever on them, and that just helps when I do put the tape down that it doesn't stick quite as strongly to the mirror. So that just helps at the end, and at the end you're going to have to clean the mirrors anyway. So now that I have all the tape removed, I just clean with my Norwex cloth. I use my EnviroCloth nice and wet. And then, the nice thing about glass is the paint really does come off of it pretty easy, just using my nail or a Pampered Chef the brown little scraper that you get. But one thing that I like to make sure is, even though I tape off that paint, paint just is like water. It finds those lowest surfaces, especially on the beveled glass. And I take a razor blade and make sure that I get that all cleaned off the glass, especially since I'm reselling it. I want this to be as pristine as I possibly can make it. So I do have that little bit of a razor blade, but you want to go gingerly. You don't want to scrape off that glass. So I have to say I don't have too many casualties, but unfortunately I must have leaned too hard or already had a pre-cracked. But this cute little window that had the shelf will be no more. When we took the back off to see if we could just replace that pane, because I do, thrift things that have glass or mirror in it, and that we could cut that off. But unfortunately it was a whole sheet. The whole back was a whole sheet. So I was not able to have a big enough leftover mirror piece to replace that. And it's not cost efficient to order a piece of mirror. So I will figure something else to do with this window. It just will not be a mirror. So when it came to this stand mirror, I was a little bit nervous about trying to staple and tighten that cardboard piece back on. So my husband came up with an idea of these slats to, that way he could screw them on, and it would make it nice and secure. And if I painted the back of it white, it would blend all in. Especially being a standing mirror, you're gonna end up seeing that back. So I thought this was an excellent idea. So remember, if you forgot, that the little screw part that holds that mirror in, the washer goes on the inside against that mirror. So I know I wondered if you guys thought I would paint this absolutely beautiful pewter looking mirror, but no, oh my gosh, no. All it did was get a really good clean job and years of grime off of it and a brand new hanger, and it's just absolutely gorgeous, and I will sell it as is. I really do wish I had a place for it in my house, but I do not. And I just absolutely love how this 6-pane mirror turned out. I absolutely love that somebody spent the time, and those are individual panes of mirror on there. And actually there was a Japan on the box that on the cardboard behind it. It just is absolutely gorgeous, and I love that I put the little locking device back on it to, for it to be what it is. It is an old window turned into a mirror. So you can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that this mirror was probably one of those that sat on a dresser back in the day, and then got detached from it. But I absolutely love these, and they are just the simplicity of that beveled glass and that little bit of a detailing and that little over distressing on it, just to make it look old and vintage, to match the age of the mirror itself. That it's pitted and you can see through it, but it's just a nice old mirror. And of course this mirror is not necessarily old, but that beveled glass, I just think that brings a mirror up a notch, having that bevel on it. And I absolutely love how one frame has this detailing and how I can just make it pop with distressing. I know not everybody likes this kind of style, but for me, you know, the crisp white is really nice, but if you accidentally damage it, you know, distressing, it's already damaged. So it just makes it age well. And for this large mirror, this was going to be a great find for somebody. You know, it is large, it is beveled, you know, that nice wood frame. We were able to fill in those holes. And the same thing with the distressing, you know, just those little sharp edges that just distress and just make it look like it's been around for a long time. And I just absolutely, I love it, you know, but I don't really like to look in the mirrors all that much, but it is a nice large mirror. So not that this one could not be hung on the wall, but the screw that I had I could use for the other ones. The screw hole head was a little bit too big, but I just absolutely wanted to show you the beautiful detail of this nice mirror. I know that it's small, but it's a nice accent, and I just love how it distressed. And then for the standing mirror, I love these mirrors, you know, in a bedroom, in an extra room. I know I've seen Jamie Ray Vintage, and she has hers in her living room. I just absolutely love, and I just think this just took this right, you know, into Farmhouse. And those little details that one was missing, you don't even notice it on the beauty of this mirror. So I thank you so much for watching today's video, and which one of these mirrors on the cheap were your favorite. And remember, each one of them was probably less than $10 other than the standing one, but they were just absolutely gorgeous. You can find an absolutely gorgeous mirror at a thrift store in your area, I hope anyway. I know every area is different. So again, I will don't forget that this is a challenge, and so that means there is a playlist down in my description box along with Christi and Marie's channel, so go check them out. And I thank you again for watching, and if you're part of my YouTube family, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And if you'd like to become part of my YouTube family, just hit that subscribe button.